It was a crisp autumn evening in Kansas City, where the stadium lights had long since dimmed, leaving the field bathed in a soft, silvery moonlight. The air was thick with anticipation, but not for a game. This night held a different kind of weight for Travis Kelce, one that no playbook could prepare him for. Travis stood alone on the 50-yard line, the very spot where he had lived so many of his greatest moments. But tonight, his mind wasn't on touchdowns or Super Bowl rings. It was on her, Taylor Swift. The woman who had danced into his life with a grace and joy that left him breathless, who turned his world upside down in the best possible way. They had been together for what felt like a lifetime, yet also like no time at all. Every moment with Taylor was an adventure, a new song, a new story. They had navigated the challenges of their public lives, supporting each other through the highs and lows, always finding solace in their shared laughter and love. Travis knew she was the one. He had known for a long time, but the thought of asking her to marry him, to officially start their forever, had his heart pounding harder than any pre-game jitters. He had planned everything. The stadium was empty, except for a few close friends and family hiding in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment. The Jumbotron was dark, holding its breath along with Travis. He reached into his pocket, his fingers grazing the cool surface of the ring he had chosen for her, a simple yet elegant piece that sparkled with the promise of a future together. As if on cue, the stadium lights dimmed even further, and the gentle strumming of a guitar echoed through the empty seats. It was her song, the one she had written for him, about him, without him even knowing. He smiled, his eyes searching the stands until he saw her, stepping out from the tunnel, looking more beautiful than ever. Taylor had a way of lighting up any room, any field, with just a smile, and tonight was no different. She walked towards him, her eyes shining with curiosity and love. "Travis, what is this?" she asked, her voice a melody in itself. Travis took a deep breath, his hands trembling slightly as he took hers in his. "Taylor, you've given me more than I ever thought I deserved. You've been my rock, my muse, my best friend. Every day with you is a blessing, and I can't imagine my life without you. I want to spend forever making you as happy as you make me." He dropped to one knee, pulling out the ring as he looked up at her. "Taylor Swift, will you marry me?" For a moment, time stood still. The world around them faded away, leaving just the two of them in this perfect, frozen moment. Taylor's eyes filled with tears, her breath catching in her throat. She had always been so careful with her heart, so cautious after all the heartbreaks and broken promises. But with Travis, it had been different. He had shown her what true love looked like, what it felt like to be cherished beyond the glamour and fame. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, Travis, I will marry you." Travis felt the tears in his own eyes as he slipped the ring onto her finger, standing up to pull her into his arms. The stadium erupted into cheers as their friends and family emerged, surrounding them with love and celebration. The Jumbotron lit up, displaying a montage of their journey together, from their first public appearance to their private moments that had defined their love. As they stood there, in the center of the field where Travis had once been a solitary figure, they were now a united force, ready to take on the world together. The love that had started as a spark had grown into an unbreakable bond, one that would see them through every challenge, every joy, and every new adventure. Under the stars and the quiet hum of the city, Travis and Taylor shared a kiss, sealing their promise to each other. It was the beginning of their forever, a love story that would be sung about for generations to come. Travis Kelce had always known how to handle pressure. From catching game-winning passes to leading his team to victory, the NFL star was no stranger to high-stakes moments. But as he stood in the middle of his Kansas City mansion, clutching a small velvet box in his hand, he realized that nothing on the football field could have prepared him for this. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that felt like the calm before a storm. Travis had spent days agonizing over the right moment, the right words, the right everything. This wasn't just any proposal, this was the proposal. He was about to ask Taylor Swift, the woman who had changed his life in ways he never imagined, to marry him. They had met at a charity event a few years back, a casual encounter that blossomed into a love story neither of them had seen coming. Despite their busy lives, Taylor with her world tours and Travis with his football season, they had managed to build something real, something that felt like home. Tonight, Travis had planned something special. A private dinner, just the two of them, in the backyard under a canopy of twinkling lights. He had carefully selected each dish, knowing exactly what she loved. But as the evening wore on, Travis found himself lost in thought, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Would she say yes? Did she feel the same way he did? What if this wasn't what she wanted? The questions swirled in his mind, each one heavier than the last. But as Taylor smiled across Travis, Kelce had always believed that some moments were written in the stars. As he stood in the middle of Arrowhead Stadium, the place where he had spent so many glorious Sundays, he felt the weight of 1,000 emotions pressing down on him. Tonight, however, was different. The roar of the crowd was replaced by the whisper of the wind, and the lights that usually blinded him on the field now bathed him in a soft, golden glow. He had never felt more exposed, yet never more sure of anything in his life. For months, the world had watched as his relationship with Taylor Swift unfolded in the public eye. The headlines, the photos, the endless speculation, it all seemed so far removed from the quiet, intimate moments they had shared away from the cameras. They had laughed, loved, and lived their lives as best they could under the spotlight. But through it all, Travis had been planning for this moment. It wasn't just the grand gestures that Taylor had fallen for. It was the way Travis made her feel safe in a world that often felt overwhelming, the way he listened when she needed to talk, and the way he loved her with a sincerity that went beyond words. Travis, for his part, had never felt more at home than he did when he was with Taylor. She was his North Star, his muse, the love of his life. And tonight, he was going to ask her to be his forever. The stage had been set perfectly. The stadium, empty but for the two of them, felt like their own private universe. A soft melody floated through the air, one of Taylor's songs, of course, one that spoke of love found and held onto tightly. Travis had arranged everything down to the last detail, wanting the night to be as unforgettable as she was. As Taylor stepped out onto the field, her eyes wide with wonder, Travis felt his heart leap into his throat. She was breathtaking, dressed in a simple white gown that fluttered in the breeze, her hair cascading in soft waves around her shoulders. For a moment, he couldn't move, couldn't breathe, as the reality of what he was about to do sank in. "Taylor," he finally managed to say, his voice trembling with emotion as he walked toward her, "there's something I've been meaning to ask you." She smiled, a soft, knowing smile, as if she had been waiting for this moment just as long as he had. "I think I know what you're going to say," she whispered, her eyes shining with unshed tears. Travis took her hands in his, feeling the warmth of her skin against his. "We've been through so much together," he began, his voice strong but laced with vulnerability. "You've shown me what it means to truly love someone, to care for them with all your heart. You're my best friend, my partner in everything, and I can't imagine my life without you." Taylor's tears began to fall then, silent drops of joy that reflected the love she felt for the man standing before her. "Travis," she breathed, her voice breaking with emotion. "I love you, Taylor. More than words can ever express," he continued, dropping to one knee in the center of the field. "I want to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you've made me. Will you marry me?" For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. The stadium, the lights, the very air around them, all faded into the background as Taylor looked down at Travis, her heart bursting with love. She had never been surer of anything in her life. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling with joy. "Yes, Travis, I'll marry you." In an instant, Travis was on his feet, pulling her into his arms as the tears they had both been holding back finally flowed freely. He kissed her with all the love he had been carrying in his heart, knowing that this was just the beginning of the rest of their lives. The stars above them shone a little brighter that night, as if celebrating the love that had brought them to this moment. And as they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Travis knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, as husband and wife. Their love story, the one that had captured the hearts of millions, had reached its most beautiful chapter yet. And in that moment, nothing else mattered but the promise they had made to each other, a promise to love, to cherish, and to hold on to what they had found, for as long as they both lived.